Hey guys, it's Alvin and Jess, and we are
The Most Potato. On today's episode, we'll be discussing The Best Man. And if you haven't watched this movie in a while or you just never seen it before, just know we're going into spoilers. So if you haven't watched this movie yet, save this episode and come back after watching.
Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you guys enjoy the show.
Welcome everyone to another installment of The Most Potato, and happy early Valentine's Day to everyone. Where it is already February, because it just feels weird that I'm saying that when it's not Valentine's Day yet. But I don't know. It was just weird to say that because you typically don't say Happy Valentine's Day early on,
or at all. I mean, I just don't go around like Happy Valentine's.
Maybe everyone. We should, maybe it's as important as Christmas.
No, it's not. It's just a holiday where people can buy stuff and
just like Christmas.
Well, yeah, Christmas. But I mean, Christmas actually is supposed to be like
you actually get days off.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, but yeah.
Christmas is more fun, I think.
I mean,
more festive.
The way, well, yeah, I'm not gonna get into that one. But I love Christmas because I love getting presents, and I love giving people my Christmas list, and I love when they don't get me what's supposed to be on my Christmas list.
No,
aka every single thing on my Christmas list. Yes.
I don't know what that is, but yeah, we're talking Valentine's Day movies.
Wow. Okay. I'll stop hinting.
So this month we're doing a sort of date night series where we just talk about romantic comedies, and we're trying to be diverse with our options. We're trying to do stuff from America, maybe do some international stuff. And today we're going to talk about The Best Man. And I forget why I decided I wanted to do this one as one of our options.
There was some buzz on social media, I feel like.
There was like some memes that just randomly came up using like scenes from The Best Man.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what is this? This sounds mad spicy and messy. I was just like, I think I want to watch this. And I've also just never seen this movie before.
I know my mom has it on VHS and she used to watch it all the time. It just never happened to be one of the VHS I watched when she was out. Like I would sneak VHS that she wouldn't let me see.
Yeah.
And I would watch them. This didn't happen to be one, but this was one that she played a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I saw some like memes online about it and I was just like, wait, what? And then the age-old question of, is it wrong to, or worse to cheat on your partner with a stranger or to cheat on them with their best friend?
Yeah, like somebody close to them.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we actually put up a poll on Instagram, and you brought up a very valid point. I should have put a third option, because I put the two options. Is it worse to sleep with strangers or your partner's best friend? But I should have also put a third one that says basically they're both equally bad.
Yeah.
Because I could see the argument for that.
Because I was just like, I feel like if I answer one, I'm condoning the other.
I didn't see it that way, but I guess that could be, I guess.
That was like my first thing. I'm just like, they're both bad. Well,
I cheat on strangers, so I'm good. It wasn't your bestie, so it's fine. And it was interesting to see the poll. It was overwhelmingly skewing towards cheating on the best, your partner's, cheating with your partner's best friend was worse than cheating with strangers. It was like, I have the percentages. It's 88% that leans towards cheating with the best friend, and then 12% with cheating with strangers.
Yeah.
So a vast majority of our listeners.
I'm curious as to the ones that picked cheating with a stranger is worse.
I know.
Is it like, oh, that's my best friend, so it's all good?
I know. I don't know. We'd have to think about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking The Best Man, and like we said before, this month we're going to be doing different rom-com movies. Mm-hmm. So just to get in the mood of the love of month, or the month of love. Wow, I can't English today.
Love of month. For the love of month.
I also just wanted to dive into rom-coms just because that's my weakest suit in terms of like watching and like digesting movies. Like I just feel like I don't have enough experience with rom-coms. I mean, I've seen them growing up, but it's just like I need to learn how to like find which ones are actually good and which ones are like super problematic. And I feel like most of the ones I've watched are very problematic to some degree.
I don't
like. I used to love movies like Hitch, and then when I got older, I was like, wow, there's like some bullshit going on.
But what
in
year
Hitch.
is that from?
It's like what, 2004, 2005.
Okay, so all the rom-coms coming out during that time, we watch them today. We find a problem with them. They're very problematic.
Yeah.
Even things going into like the tens or I think
we're getting better now. Yeah, in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, and I've rewatched some of my favorite movies that I like grew up with. All those rom-coms, those romantic comedies with like, you know, the current it girl, like Hilary Duff or Amanda Bynes, Lindsay Lohan. Those were like my movies growing up because I was like a Disney Plus kid or a Disney kid or whatever.
Before Disney Plus.
Before Disney Plus, yeah. Disney Radio, all that stuff like that. I was like a Disney kid. Mm-hmm. So I used to watch those. I rewatch them now because, like, you know, I like to put a movie on in the background while comfort. I do stuff, especially if I know all the lines. And I'm just like, wow, this was problematic. Wow, I thought weird. This was good. Oh my God, he was so dreamy. I'm just like, this. Oh
no, this is transphobic.
Is toxic. Yeah, transphobic.
This is homophobic.
It was like when I was rewatching Ugly Betty, and I was just these jokes are not okay. These punchlines, I was just like, oh my God, like I was just cringing at everything.
Sign of the times.
Yeah, so I like that we rewatched this because I never watched this one before.
Yeah, and this was a fun watch.
Yeah, it was a fun enjoyable. Watch, and I just loved how we were just like, oh.
And I love how black it is. It's yes. I forget that there was a lot of media back in the day that was made by black people for black people.
Yeah,
it's so different compared to what we get to like today.
Like you had to like look for the white people in this movie. Like
which is great.
Maybe like less than 5 or something like that. And I was just like, it's like there's no white people in this. Interesting. I'm like,
yeah.
We could be doing this. Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, we could be doing this. We could have movies where we're looking for a white person in it. Usually it's just like, oh, there's no black people in this, or oh, look, they have the token black person.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a token white person in this. And I was just like, huh.
Which works for me.
Is token white person even a thing? I don't know.
Anyways, yeah. So this movie is written and directed by Malcolm D. Lee. And it is a star-studded cast as well. We've got Taye Diggs as the main character. We got Nia Long, Morris Chestnut, Harold Perrineau, Terrence Howard, Sanaa Lathan, Melissa Sanaya. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I did not know how to pronounce that. Melissa De Souza's, Monica Calhoun, and Regina Hall.
Regina. I love me, Regina
I love
Hall.
seeing her, but I didn't love that she had such a small role. But it's fine.
I mean, it didn't start off with like a stripper, you know. It's about the best man.
Maybe recast her in a different character. And for those who are unfamiliar with the movie, basically we follow an aspiring novelist named Harper Stewart, who is about to celebrate the release of his newest, hottest, lascivious, most nasty book, which happens to be based on the secret lives and loves of his close group of friends. When Harper finds out that an advanced copy is making its rounds to his friends before his best friend's wedding, he races against the clock to keep a dark truth hidden from his best friend. And that's basically that premise sells right away. Like I want to see some mess. Yeah. Like I have a weakness for like seeing messiness between people in relationships. I think that's why I love House of the Dragon so much. It's just basically just like family dysfunction and mess.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we got in this movie as well. It's really just like seeing a bunch of flawed, problematic people who are friends with each other just coming to terms with their own shittiness. And that's something that I feel like we don't see that often, especially in romantic comedies. Like, it tends to start off squeaky clean, and then the character makes a mistake, and then it gets fixed in no time.
Yeah.
So I like that we start off with already just, like, a messiness to the plot and the characters. And Harper is just, like, a really just not good dude. Yeah, he is. He is a dick. He's an asshole.
Like, from the very start of it, I was just like, I do not like this character at all. Like, what is up with that? There's nothing... Like,
how are you with this woman? Why does this woman like you?
And I know I'm jumping ahead. I feel like I always jump ahead because I'm just
that's fine.
You know, but even at the end, he was not redeemable in any way, shape, or form. I just still didn't like him. And
Same.
I didn't want anyone to forgive him at all. And they just wrote that forgiven. Basically, there was no leading up to forgiveness of this character. It was just forgiven. And then I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that. I'm not. That's my negative.
I was gonna go over positive and negatives, but now that you bring that up, that is like one major negative that I have with this movie, and it's a glaring issue with me, just because, like you said, he doesn't really earn the forgiveness that he gets with some of the characters that he's wronged in this movie, particularly his best friend Lance and his girlfriend Robin.
I was gonna say, the girlfriend.
Yeah, because those are the two people that he wronged the most, and he gets rewarded just with like, oh, he gets his friend back, he gets to be with the girl,
he gets to be at the wedding.
Yeah, and it's just like, I wish there was more. If they were gonna build up to that, let him actually earn that, or at least let him just have his downfall and be like, shit, like I gotta live with this shit.
Yeah,
these people don't forgive me, but at least I helped save the marriage and the ceremony, but I come away with nothing. I don't have my girlfriend. My situation with my friend. She walked away
too. She walked away at the end, and then next thing I know,
but she was just powdering her nose or some shit.
I was just like, what? Like, girl, leave.
I think that's like, I think that's one major gripe I have with this movie. And then the other thing is, like, I think you mentioned it, the movie's kind of slow at first because it's not really a lot of plot. There's no action going on. It's a man trying to get this book back before his friend finds out the truth that he doesn't want him to find out. But besides that, this was a very fun movie to watch. It's actually very funny. It was actually very entertaining. And then I actually appreciate that they take the time to set up each of these characters. Yeah. I feel like with a lot of movies, specifically with rom-coms, you don't get to fully know the characters that you follow. You just know what they're looking for and what they want, and that's it. You don't really get to care that much about the characters. They might not have much of a personality. Yeah. Here, like, every character that we follow, they have their own, like, philosophy when it comes to dating and relationships. They have their own goals, and then they have their own, like, faults that we kind of explore with each of them. So that made the movie really entertaining because it's a character-heavy movie. It's not so much, like, plot and stuff going on. Yeah. So I appreciate that.
I think that's why I got a little bit bored. Well, not
especially like in the first 30 minutes, it just felt like you could have shaved off like 10 minutes or something to get to like the meat of the story a little sooner.
Because like we start off with Harper and what's the girl, Robin, that's his girlfriend, and she's like in his apartment using it because she's like doing catering now, and it seems like she's hopped on to like a lot of different hobbies and stuff, and right now she's doing catering, and she's like clearly like she finds the relationship serious. It's like the longest one he's had or something like that.
She's ready to commit.
She's ready to commit.
But Harper is not.
He's not, and he just like he says things where it's just like, you should have just left. And like she like gets up and like removes herself or whatever when she's upset. But like I'm just like, he's just the biggest red flag ever. And
he really is.
And I was just like, oh, this is so annoying. But I'm just like, of course she's written to like, you know, stay, and because she's gonna be needed like later on in the film and stuff. But I was just like, gosh, he's not a likable character. Yeah. And then with the issue with his book coming out like in advance and stuff, and him worrying about his friend Lance reading it. At first I was just like, he's not gonna read it. He's just a football player, and that's all he cares about is football and bitches, basically.
No, he reads.
But he reads, and he reads because he wants to support his friend. Because
and he's genuinely into the book. Exactly. He actually likes it.
So I'm just like, this Harper character really, really sucks. I can't get behind it, but I'm like, okay, we set him up, and we know how he is. And like he then leads us to connecting to like Lance, and then the rest of the friend group. And then like you said, there's like they build on each character, and the characters that all they need to build off is the four men. Harper, who is the writer, and then Lance, who's the football player. Julian. Then we have Julian,
the awkward guy who is the least masculine of the group, and he's very shy, and he's having his own relationship issues. Yes. And with a domineering girlfriend, and then Quentin. The one light-skinned dude that's problematic and is a whore.
Basically. Yes. And like you said, they have their different philosophies and on dating and all that stuff. So I think that's how like that's what made it interesting, and then to see them come together and to see them. What I really liked about this friend group is that like they genuinely care for each other while still being so different. They're very, very different, but I felt and I saw like the love between these four characters, this group. Yeah, and it didn't feel forced at all. you know, and it really felt like watching like a group of friends and just like, you know, kind of just being like, wow, these are good friends.
Yeah.
You know, they've been around each other for a really long time and stuff. So that's what I enjoyed about them. And seeing like what their separate issues were when they finally addressed it in the film.
So I totally agree with you when you said that these characters feel very believable, like they feel like real friendships. Because I feel like, yeah, that reminds me of like my friendships with my male friends as well. Like I'm friends with so many different types of personalities that even sometimes if we clash, we come together to help out our friends if somebody's in need. So I think they did a really good job fleshing out these characters, making them feel real and whole while also just being entertaining as well for the movie. I specifically wanted to focus on the scene where you know, they're getting ready for the events that are going on, like before they get to the bachelor party and then before the wedding as well, when they're just hanging out and they're I think they're playing card games or whatever. We get to learn about each friend and just what they believe in when it comes to like love and relationships and dating. We already got to know Harper beforehand, but we see a little bit more of what he believes in this scene where, you know, he's this guy that's very career driven, very passionate about being a writer, being a fiction writer, which is great and all. But if you're letting that get in the way of your commitment to somebody who's very serious about you, like that's a serious problem.
Yeah.
Because he's like super dismissive of Robin the whole time. And I'm just like, I'm surprised she even wanted to come along for this wedding. So like right off the bat, that's like an issue. We also see that he has like an issue. He's got beef with God and religion. He's basically like agnostic atheist. He's in that realm. And the only thing that he's sure about in life is his career path. He's not sure about, you know, the existence of God and the usefulness of religion. He's not sure about his relationship with Robin. All he knows is I want to be the best fucking writer, even if it means exploiting my friend. Yeah. Which is that's kind of like some fuckboy shit. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it definitely is. And
like they leave very little room for us to like him.
Yeah.
But they do it in a way where I don't want to watch. There's like some movies that write characters that are so despicable. I'm just like, I don't want to watch this guy. But for some reason, I want to watch him because I just want to watch him learn his lesson. Which he kind of does and doesn't.
Oh yeah, he does.
He does and he doesn't.
Barely. Yeah, I mean, he knows he can acknowledge that he's wrong.
Yeah,
but like he still doesn't. I mean, Alvin and I, we watched the sequel to this, and he does it again. Like he
repeats the same mistake.
He was literally for a book again, and I mean, like, and then this time, spoiler, if you guys haven't watched the sequel. Lance's wife that he ends up marrying, she is dying, and all the while, Harper is still exploiting his friends.
Yeah,
like
trying to survive off of a new book.
Yeah, I mean,
based on his friend.
He's got issues going on, but I'm just like, come on, did you not?
You didn't learn from the first movie.
Didn't learn.
How many times we got to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yes. But yeah,
but that's Harper in a nutshell. He's super motivated by being, you know, career driven, being a provider. But it's like if you're not helping people in your life and being there for them. Like, what does it matter that you're good at this job and making all the money that you want? So we learned that about him. And then the best friend in question, Lance, is, you know, he's heavy into his football career. He's like moving up in the world, but he's also somebody that's had a very iffy like past with his girlfriend, who's now his fiance, because he's cheated on her, I believe, multiple times in college, right? It wasn't just one time from what I gathered.
Yeah.
So he was like, he very problematic in his past. And that's something that never really got resolved with his current fiance. I mean, she knew about it, but it's also a thing that I think has been happening. And he just recently renounced his cheating ways.
Because they're getting married now.
Yeah. And he claims that his fiance Mia would never turn on him and never cheat on him,
which I hated. I hated that. Like, I know we have to talk about.
It was very arrogant.
But
no, let's dig into this.
Not even the other characters. But like, I just feel like he cheats on her so many times. She's aware of it. There's no way she's not.
And she's confronted him before.
Exactly. So that's been voiced. We know that's a thing. And then like.
And in flashbacks in college, we see that Lance's solution to that is trying to pray to God, pray away the sin.
I mean, Harper is problematic. Like I still don't like Harper more than Lance, but I feel like I'm aware of the type of guy that Lance is, and that's why I was just like, oh great, this is his character.
He's a Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, because basically when he first sees Mia, he's interested, and he's just like,
not just interested, he is head over heels. He's like, Harper, you need to set me up with her. She's the woman of my dreams. But clearly not.
Exactly. And the way they describe her is like, oh, she's always like, the first one here and the last one out for work, because she worked on a paper too or something, like
such a good girl.
Yeah, she's like a good girl. Oh God,
I think that's literally what Harper describes her as. He's like, she's a good girl. I'm not setting you up with her.
Exactly.
Because he knows his villainous ways.
Yes, exactly. So I was just like, oh, that's so annoying. So what I didn't like is that Lance is like this guy, and he's going around, he's sleeping with all these women, and then now he sees someone who's pure and virtuous. That's what she is basically, because Mia in this movie, she doesn't have a personality really, or character. She's just
always very sweet. Like,
that's literally her personality. She's just like, she's sweet and she's virgin. That's it.
Basically,
And I'm just like, okay, great. So that's what he's going after, because
common fetish.
Yeah, he went and he slept with all these women, and like even when he finally got with Mia, he cheated on her and slept with more women, but she's pure because she never slept with any other woman. So like that's the prize. I don't want my woman to have slept with anybody else but me. And I really, really hate that. I think that is so stupid. So I was just like, oh, it's like, really? That's his personality, or that's his mentality and the way he thinks. And I was just like, okay, great. So then he's just like, yeah, she would never. And I was just like, but she should have multiple times with many, many men and all your best friends, because I'm just like, why is it that you feel it's okay, but now you can, like you said, every time he messes up, he prays. And I'm just like, that also bothered me. I mean, I'm not religious, but I'm just like, but you're doing wrong, and then you're going to be, I'm religious and I'll pray to God and it'll all be fine. And
also, that's just not how Christianity really works.
Yeah,
if anything, that's more Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I too am not religious. I'm not a religious person at all. But with Catholicism, if you want to be forgiven for your sins, you would have to go and actually, what is it called? You go to the church and you meet with a pastor. And you have to be in confessional together.
Yeah, the confessional.
Yeah, and then that's how I don't know if Christianity does that, but either way, neither religion is written where it's just like, oh, if you just sit down in your living room and just pray, then you're forgiven and you're not a bad person anymore.
I mean, like for certain things, I'm pretty sure that's what, like, you can do that. Like you have to, like, but him is just like, oh shit, I stuck it somewhere else again. God, please forgive me. Like,
wipe me clean.
Wipe me clean. And I'm going to go back to Mia. And then after that, I'm going to go somewhere else. You could wipe me clean. That's what I got from him. I felt like that was him. That's the character that he is. And I hated it. And so like, then, the question of, like, him finding out or him reading Harper's book, and Harper basically snitches on himself, dumbass.
Where he sleeps with Mia.
Mia, exactly.
I'm just like, wow.
And then
you
Lance
slept with your best friend's girl.
He figures it out. Like you think he's like the dumb jock or whatever character, but it was just so obvious. And I think everybody knew. Previous like friends, what was Nia Long's character's name? Jordan.
Yeah.
Like she picked up on it. Quentin picked up on it.
I don't think you have to be a genius to pick up on the way that he writes.
So I was just like, why would you write this book, regardless if Lance was getting married or not?
That's a question I wanted to get into later. Yeah. Because
why would you write this and then
for the money, bro? Gotta make them bucks.
Did you not worry about being confronted by your friend or your friend group at all about any of this?
Yeah.
So it was just like, it was really interesting to me, but I didn't like when they were introducing Lance and how he was and his relationship with Mia, because I was like, oh, ew, come on. And she's just, like you said, she's just sweet and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, does she
There's not
ever
much
get
else to her.
upset about this? Like, I don't know. Like, what is
it's
she
happened
seeing,
off
Lance?
screen.
Yeah, but it
That's
needed to happen. Like, it needs to happen on screen. Like, I need to see it because then it makes her just seem like not much of a character at all.
She really isn't.
Wasn't.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't like that Harper never fucking learned and didn't become a better character or have any sort of character development. And then I just didn't like that Mia just wasn't a character.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
They didn't even need an actor for her. They could have just had Mia off screen and we just know about her because that's what it felt
Put
like
a doll.
And
And then the funny thing is, Quentin, the Terrence Howard character, he's the one that antagonizes Lance about his claims about Mia never straying from him.
Mm-hmm.
Quentin is a very interesting character because he's very, oh my God, when they introduced him, when they first started reuniting the characters, him fucking playing guitar at this weird nightclub where he's just like being extra light skinned and just like doing the light skin gaze while playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like this very cocky attitude. And then the minute he opens his mouth, it's like, yeah, he's very obnoxious.
Yeah.
And he's also non-committal. He doesn't believe in monogamy.
Mm-hmm.
In the conversation that they're all having, he brings up the whole old ass argument that like, oh, like humans were not built to be monogamous. We were all like partnered up with different people way back when. Like monogamy just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those people. So he doubts the validity of monogamy. And then that's when he calls out Lance on his sort of like argument that, oh, Mia would never stray from me.
Mm.
And it's just like, at first I thought Quentin was just being like a very antagonistic character just like for the sake of being a problem. I kind of described him as like the Iago of the story. Like, you know, Iago from Othello who just spreads rumors until like shit pops off.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to be like that guy, but we see later on in the movie that he's actually trying to help his friends by confronting them about their own shit.
Yeah.
So he brings up an interesting question where it's just like, how can you prove or how are you so sure that Mia hasn't strayed? What is your evidence? And then Lance doesn't really say anything other than because she loves me and that's my wife. That's going to be my wife. And I'm just like, okay. You're not really answering the question. Like, what is your proof? Because you've cheated on her multiple times. Who's to say that she didn't feel like doing the same to you? Like, especially the fact that you just did it multiple times.
Was there a point where he kind of just like, yeah, maybe she did, but
I think no. I think it's when he like blew up and grabbed Quentin by the shirt and almost knocked over the table. That was him kind of accepting that possibility, but not him outright saying, I see why you would say that.
Yeah.
Him getting outraged is kind of his response and his acknowledgement of that could be a possibility.
But at that point, he was okay with it because he didn't know it was Harper.
Yes. At that point, he thought, well, if she cheated, it's somebody that I have no idea, and we'll never have to worry about that guy.
Yeah.
Little do we know, he's sitting right there with a deck of cards.
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting exchange with those two. And then we have Julian, who we mentioned earlier. He's a very awkward dude. He's one of those guy friends that's like very polite. He's very soft-spoken. But he also is like, he has issues with people letting people walk all over him, specifically his girlfriend, Shelby, who's disgusting. I can't stand her.
Yeah.
She's awful. And they made sure of that. She's a one-note character. They just wrote her to be this awful, terrible person who's basically just an overbearing mom. And when they first introduced the couple, I thought that Julian was like her intern or something. I thought that he worked for her. And then they established that they were a couple, and I was like, oh, shit, I thought that was your boss.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, that's bad. And the fact that his friends confront him about that, because he calls out, this is an interesting character, Julian calls them out for when they say or do misogynistic things. They tend not to listen. That's something that happens way too often. But his friends also make valid points where he's just letting this woman walk all over him, treat him like shit, emotionally manipulate him into doing whatever she wants, even if he's valid in wanting to do stuff with his friends, like just simply hanging out and spending time away from her. she won't accept that.
And she got the crocodile tears to make him feel guilty and not do what he wants to do, even though he discussed with her, I will be doing this.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't want him doing that or hanging out. She wants him all for herself. So
yeah,
I was like, okay, we know what type of character she is. I'm like, can't wait for him to dump her.
Literally, yeah. And then he actually does get to do that later on, and that was actually very fun to watch. So those are like the main core like male friends that come together for this wedding. We also have Jordan, like you mentioned earlier. She's like the one that got away for Harper.
Oh yeah.
She's also very career driven and very ambitious like him, which I feel like they would be a better couple if they actually fucking took the chance.
They didn't get together,
especially in the college flashback where they were about to have sex, and for some reason, because the Stevie Wonder song started skipping.
Oh yeah.
They felt like, oh, we gotta stop.
I thought somebody Alvin, the spell broke.
I thought somebody was gonna come in. I heard keys jangling, and then somebody was gonna come in the student office.
No.
But no, it's because Stevie Wonder said, nah, I'm gonna start skipping, and that's a bad omen.
They got caught up in the moment. And
if Stevie Wonder skips in the middle of your foreplay, you don't move forward. It's a bad omen.
Okay.
Your dick will fall off if you follow through.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh. I don't know. I think they could have easily hooked up many times in college. I don't know how they never did that. But she's the woman that Harper can't seem to get his mind off of, which is another reason why he can't commit to Robin. And it's also very annoying to watch because she's a problem. She's basically a homewrecker.
Yes.
Or like at least a would-be homewrecker, because she's blatantly saying, I want to fuck you. Like, she literally says that to him. And then he just goes,
He's like, but I got a girlfriend, though.
She's coming tomorrow.
She's coming tomorrow. And she's like, well, we can do it tonight. And he's just like.
But you don't got to decide right now. Just know before tomorrow. There's time.
Yeah. And he doesn't say no. Like, what do you know?
They actually kiss. They end up kissing. I was like, okay, great. So now you're also cheating.
Yeah.
So that's great.
It's ridiculous. I'm like, okay.
I was like, how are you going to make me hate Nia Long? I love Nia Long, but she's really ignorant in this. She plays the character very well. She plays a very just like selfish person. So she was an interesting character to watch. And then, like you mentioned, there's nothing much to Mia.
Damn.
She's almost a nothing character, really, which I wish they utilized her more. I wish there was a confrontation with Mia and Lance in this movie. That's kind of what I was hoping for, but it didn't build up to that.
I was so confused.
Because that would have shown another dimension to her.
Yeah, when we
saw more of her in the second movie, if anything.
Yeah. I was like, why did they get married and it wasn't confronted? So I was just like, does everybody else know that she slept with Harper and she's thinking that nobody knows still? That's literally how it ended. I was just like, okay, y'all really just didn't use this woman at all. Like, anyways,
yeah. So let's get into the book itself. So the book is, like we mentioned before, it's just a fictionalized version of what happened with Harper and his friends. He's so creative that he just basically plagiarized his own life, barely made any adjustments to the characters. Even Lance at one point is just like, man, you made my character a little too similar to me in real life. Like, you could have embellished a little bit. And it's just like, it brought up the question that you brought up earlier. I was like, is he trying to snitch on himself in this damn book? Like, is him writing this book basically his guilty conscience, just trying to admit
his guilty conscience, and like,
because that is a lot of shit to like hide from, like, not just your partner but like your friend too, and like your group of friends. Like, that shit's a lot, and I can't imagine him just like being comfortable living that way. Like, he's a piece of shit, but he clearly cares about his friends as well.
Yeah.
So it really makes me wonder, like, the fact that he wrote this so specifically tailored to like mirror his friends' lives without changing that much. The fact that everybody can pick up on it right away just by reading a couple sentences, I couldn't help but wonder, like, did this motherfucker really just wanted to snitch on himself? He just wanted to come clean.
Yeah.
He don't got God on his side. He can't go to confessional or anything. So he's like, I got to put it in a book and make money off of it.
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah. I don't know. And another question was like, is he wrong for writing this book and putting it out there to sell? Like, is he a bad person for doing that?
I don't think he is. If we move to the second movie, then yeah, he definitely is. Because
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's literally his I think it was his publicist was just like, yeah, I basically exploit your friends. Like that's capitalism. That's America. That's what we do. So this one, maybe it was a guilty conscience where he was just writing.
I feel like it
and
has to be.
Yeah, and it happened to be a good book. He wrote it out and he gave it to his publicist or whatever, and they're just like, oh shit, this is really good.
Shit.
And they pushed it, and then it just blew up before he knew it. And because he's career driven, and he's making money from it, then he's just like, okay, what are the chances? He's like, I changed the names. I'm just like, it's not enough to just change the names.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what it could be, because he was trying to get ahead of it once he realized that it was coming out way earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like around the time with like Lance's wedding, getting married to Mia. So it's just like, okay, he knew that this would be problematic.
Yeah.
And I felt like he knew that eventually he would have to like come clean about something, or like someone would confront him about something.
Yeah.
But it was just that obviously the movie's written that this is around a wedding, so it's a bad time, And he was trying to get the book back at the bachelor party, because Lance was carrying that shit around. He was reading it and stuff, and there was that moment when he was just like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like it definitely was, because I'm like, who would write this out and just change some names and not even try to, like, make some characters extra or pull out some characters? I don't know. You have to have known.
Yeah.
So I think he did know. I think he was ready to be confronted about it, but just this was not the time that he was expecting it.
Yeah. And I don't know, because some of the best writing for authors is it comes from a personal place. So I feel like it was both, he genuinely was writing something passionate about, that he was passionate about, because it's something that really did happen to him, and that was a good story. But I also feel like you knew damn well these people were going to find out, because otherwise you wouldn't be struggling to like try to get this copy away from all your friends.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just couldn't help but think like, this dude really just wanted to confess because he couldn't hold on to it anymore. And this was his best way of doing it, but hoping that they wouldn't actually find out, but he knew they would find out.
I wonder if, like, I know the movie's written to be like, this happens during the wedding, but what if they got married and then the book came out? How would that movie, like, how would that be written? How would that go? Like, would Lance and Mia end up getting a divorce? Or, like, would the movie have been written out for them to just, like, be going through this hard, like, moment where he finds this out?
Yeah,
how would that
because they were going to find out regardless whether it held back the release of the book or not.
Exactly.
Either way, it was going to come out.
If Mia and Lance didn't decide to get married, like, what if they weren't in that stage of, like, oh, yeah, we're thinking about getting married? What if it was way before that, too? Like, would that then mean, like, they break up? Or would Lance forgive it? Or, so it's just, like, it's really interesting to ask that question. You just don't want to ask the question of, oh, is it worse to cheat on your partner with a stranger or your best friend? It's just like the timing of this too. Now that we have this movie, it's like what
I think that's what makes the movie works, is because it's the timing. It's coming up on a wedding, so that's like a very decisive moment. Yeah. And then we get to when we get to the bachelor party, that's when shit really like pops off.
Yeah.
As you mentioned earlier, Lance finds out the truth because Harper is trying to steal the book back from him. And in the middle of Harper being drunk and having fun, Lance notices the copy in his in Harper's jacket, and that's when he grabs it. And then he's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna finish reading this.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the lines where Harper admits to sleeping with Lance's girlfriend way back in college. And then Lance really tried to kill this dude off the balcony.
I know.
Piece of shit out of him. He's like about to throw him off the balcony. And of all people that talks some sense and calms everything down is Quentin.
That started this shit.
The light-skinned devil himself.
Yes.
But again, that's what I like about Quentin. Like he's one of the most fascinating characters in this movie, because even though he's like kind of like a douchebag, he also has a bit of a heart of gold for his friends.
Oh, he does. He was crying the shit out of that wedding. He was tearing up and all that stuff. So I like that there was more to him than just
because
douchebag.
when Quentin notices that Harper has the copy back, he looks disgusted at him. Like he's like, I'm not gonna say shit, but man, I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna wait to see what happens, and if I need to step in, I'll step in. And then, sure enough, he steps in and he goes, Lance, it's not even worth it, man. You've got a wedding to worry about, and this is your friend. Don't do this.
Yeah.
You do not need to go to jail. Like, if it wasn't for Quinn, I think he might have actually gone through with killing this dude. Because nobody else was trying to break up the fight.
Everybody was just watching.
And then they look horrified, but they didn't want to step in. I'm just like, I know one of y'all was going to step in.
I mean, Lance probably would have beat the shit out of them. Like,
no, there was a bunch of dudes there. And there was a bunch of bigger dudes, too, that could have pulled them off.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so that was a very I like that the culmination happened at the bachelor party. That's where shit really blew up. And then that was a very critical point because Lance is now completely convinced. Like, he's like, the wedding's off. I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to call it off. And everyone's just like, no.
Yeah, everyone's just literally like, no. I'm like, what
no,
if he's no. serious? Like, this is his choice.
Yeah.
His wedding, his choice. You know? Like, come on.
Which I guess he's kind of valid for feeling that way because he's found out about this. He's betrayed by not by one, but two people. Mm-hmm. He's betrayed by his best friend and then also the woman that he's about to marry. That is a lot to process. Like, yeah, he was a piece of shit in college. Mm-hmm.
But that was kind of all out on the table and discussed, and they got past it.
He had renounced those ways.
Still keeping a secret, yeah.
Yeah.
And then to be sitting around, like, honestly, I feel him because I'm like, you got your girlfriend turned fiance, soon to be wife, you know, smiling up in your face, you thinking everything's great and wonderful, and then you got your best friend here too, y'all hanging out and stuff and having a good time, and the whole while, like.
She's sitting on this secret.
Yeah,
I fucked your best friend.
So that's why it's just like, okay, I can understand if it was a complete stranger. It's like at least nobody be smiling up his face, and all he would have to deal with is knowing that she kept the secret of cheating on him. But then you got your significant other and your best friend, like. So I can understand in that moment where he's just like, the wedding's off.
Yeah.
But then I can't still help but feel, but like, get over it. You cheated on her so many times.
That does come up for me too, yeah.
But the main problem, it's not even him cheating on her many times or her cheating once. Mm-hmm. It's for me, the real like hurt is the best friend.
Yeah, that's like
him knowing all these years, them hanging out or whatever and confiding in each other. That's where I'm just like, oh, I can understand like where he would be really hurt about that. Because
friendships, that's like a whole different type of relationship than a romantic partnership. Like, yeah, those two things are sacred and they're precious, but something about friendships tends to really stand the test of time. Like, whenever you could go through multiple breakups with people, but you'll never have as many breakups with friends. That rarely ever happens. And those are people that are always there for you no matter what you go through in life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably why it hurts the most when a friend like betrays you like that.
Yeah.
It's just something that you never expect because that's supposed to be your rock. That's like your whole world.
It's like family, but like it's your chosen family.
Exactly.
That works better than probably like the actual blood family that you have.
Yeah.
And then you're putting a lot more into that than you probably could your blood family.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like, damn, I'm like, I don't even feel like, I'm not even mad at her. Like, yes, she cheated, but like, and that's a whole nother situation. But it's like, when I'm
fucking Harper.
Yeah, I was like, fucking Harper.
Like, of all the people you could have fucked, what made you want to sleep with Lance's girlfriend? Just because, you see him cheating and all that shit, but that is a level of dirtiness and just I could never imagine doing that to anybody. That is just fucked. So that's like a lot of nuances that we pick up with Lance's anger. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just not that simple. Like, he cheated and that's something to bring up for sure. But again, like we mentioned, it was kind of resolved and put away, assumedly, because clearly that otherwise these two would not be getting married.
Yeah, she's chosen to forgive him.
Exactly.
And they probably work it out.
And they had moved on from that.
Some more.
But clearly there was a huge unresolved issue all these years. So that the betrayal coming from Harper stings, I think, a lot more.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. And I totally get him not ever wanting to forgive Harper at that moment. Mm-hmm. So then we jump to like the wedding day because Lance is still wanting to do this, but clearly he didn't want to jump the gun right away. Otherwise, he would have called Mia or went over to her that night and being like, "This shit is off." Mm-hmm. And so Lance is walking and storming into the church. He's not dressed at all. He looked like he slept in his clothes from last night, and he's just ready to just pop off on Mia in front of everybody. And then his gang of friends, they all come together. They try to stop him. It's very comical.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, you got freaking, like, Julian on the floor just trying to grab his legs
like
and trying to use his
kid,
body weight. Lance, no! You can't do this to Mia. Everybody wants him to continue with this wedding with Mia. And that is a lot to ask of somebody who's finding this shit out. Like, that is so much to ask. Like, it's amazing that he didn't even call it off the night before. But clearly he's been sitting on this. So Harper comes in and finally convinces him to just chill out for a moment when he tells him, pray with me, which is something that Lance didn't think he would hear from his atheist friend.
Yeah.
Because Harper he's not just atheist. He's like straight up hates God. He hates religion. Like, he thinks it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, he's like that sort of person. So for that to come from Harper, Lance is just like, all right, I gotta follow this guy. Like, this is not something that he would say lightly. So, so that scene where they go into the room together to try to pray together, he's still fuming. Like, he's over here tossing tables and shit. Like, he's still processing this hurt.
Wait, now that you say tossing tables, when he first tossed the table and he like grabbed up Quentin and the table was clearly flipped over with all the shit on the table.
But then there's a wide take.
Yeah.
And then the table's perfectly set up. I'm like, so did you not flip it? Did it flip halfway and then it came back and we just didn't see it?
So when he flipped the table again with this time with him and Harper, I was just like,
okay, this time
it's flipped. Sorry, continue.
Continuity error. Yeah. So then he's still angry. He's, Harper's trying to calm him down. He's telling him like, all right, let's kneel and let's pray together. But he's like, nah, I should fucking kill you right now. And I'm just like, I totally get it. And I like this scene a lot because it showcases the difficulty of forgiving somebody. It's something that it's never an easy thing to do when somebody has hurt you and betrayed you, especially on that level. And it only makes sense that it's happening at the church because it's when it comes to like religion and stuff, it's all about, having to let go of rage and not letting that fester in you, and you have to move on and you have to forgive, or at the very least just let go of the anger and let go of whatever hatred you might have. So I like that they intentionally had the setting of a church for them to confront each other as friends and try to find a middle ground of like, listen, like, we don't have to be friends the way that we used to be, but you can't just drop Mia like that. Like, this happened so long ago. Yeah. It was ultimately my fault for doing this. I'm the one that ruined it.
Well, whose fault? Harper's or Lance? Because it was also Lance's fault too. Because
she wouldn't have cheated if it wasn't for all those times that Lance had done that to her. Because he initiated all the cheating. Yeah.
So I guess because Harper and Mia, they're friends. They were friends before Lance met her. So,
exactly.
Like, from my understanding, it was she went to seek comfort from a friend, and then it turned into that. So Harper's wrong because you didn't have to turn it into that. You could be like, no. Yeah. And then Lance is wrong because you drove her away to go seek comfort somewhere else. I mean, it could have been with a friend that's a girl, but it happened to be her friend that's a guy, and then it turned to that. So Lance and Harper are wrong, and they need to pray and forgive themselves, and that's what they need to do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, essentially it's two messy-ass people trying to get cleansed.
Yeah.
But they're the ones doing the work together. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to pray to my God, and then he'll forgive me, and that's it. Like, they actually have to do the work of mending the relationship together. And it made me wonder, like, if Lance also wasn't religious, if he too was atheist, I wonder if he could even easily forgive Harper in that moment. Like, because I think there's a reason why they wrote Lance to be very religious. I mean, it was also normal back in the time, like 2000s. That was like when people were still fairly religious for the most part. But I feel like he might not have had that same response if he wasn't religious himself. If those two were both atheists, I wonder if that scene would have played out the same, or if he just would have been like, no, I'm never forgiving you. I'm still going to end this wedding. It really makes me wonder.
Yeah.
Because religious people, they tend to be able to see past their initial like gut feeling of like, I'm just going to go with my anger. I'm just going to go with my pain. I feel like they tend to be more like, all right, let me sit with this for a while. compared to somebody who might not be religious. I don't know. That's just like an assumption that I'm making.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that being somebody, but there's also something else different. I feel like it doesn't even have to be religion. I feel like it can just be like someone understanding that you have to forgive someone to like move forward, or you don't. It's your choice, but you have to really sit on this and think about it. I just feel like, I don't want to say like you have to be like evolved enough to do it, because like sometimes you get just caught up in the moment.
People are people. And we get caught up in our pain.
But I feel like there's, at some point you have to like, people become the person where they're just like, before I react, let me just sit on this and think about it as much as I can. Or let me not say anything that I can't take back, that sort of thing. I feel like for me, like that's how I would be too. I'm just like, let me not react. It'll be so easy to react. Mm-hmm. It's so easy. And I always say, it's like, it's so easy to like,
just lash out.
Yeah, to lash out, or to like, do bad things or whatever. Yeah. But it's really hard to work at something that you want, to be the person that you want. You have to work. It's so easy to just be like, you know what, fuck it, I won't do this. I won't move forward. I won't be a good person who does this, who doesn't look the other way, or who lets this sort of thing happen.
Because it's not easy to just toss aside a relationship that you've had for so long, and it's been so close.
Exactly. So it's just like he could have just been, he doesn't have to be religious, but he could be a person that says like, am I really going to throw all this away, all this time and work and love and this relationship that I put into it? Or is he just a person that just doesn't think, it's just like, you know what, fuck it, it doesn't matter? Because then I'm just like, if he is, then the relationship didn't matter, so it won't matter to us, the audience. Mm-hmm. And there was no point in writing any of this. But I think it could have still, without the religion, it could have still been written, because like if they did this movie like now today, they could do it without the religion. He could find some reason. There could be some flashback where some moment happened where he had to forgive someone, or he regretted not forgiving someone and just lashing out. So
I can see that. Yeah.
So I don't think the religion really matters. They could have done it, but I guess for like the early, when does the movie come out?
1999.
Yeah, in 99, we gotta put the religion in there. Everything works with religion. Nothing can happen without the religion.
Because back in the day, a lot of characters were religious.
Yeah.
Like even like when you look at like Spider-Man, like Aunt May was a religious person. I feel like we didn't.
And those eyes, those horrible yellow eyes.
Yeah, that's true. I could totally see that perspective. Yeah, so it's really all about like the person's values at the end of the day, whether they're religious or not. I can see that. So then they end up basically coming to terms with that, and Lance decides, okay, I'm not gonna go and just throw it all away with Mia. Mm-hmm. I'd done her wrong, she did me wrong, but this is the woman that I choose to be with, and I'm just gonna go through with it. And I think they did a fairly convincing job of earning that moment and that scene and that decision that Lance makes. Even though it's kind of unrealistic to kind of come to that decision in real life. Like, I feel like most likely the wedding would have been called off, or at the very least just delayed until they could resolve whatever's going on. Mm-hmm. But it is a movie, so we have to have this resolved but right before the wedding starts. So I think for the most part that was like a well-earned scene, and I appreciate that there's that one change in Harper where he becomes selfless in that regards. He just, whether he retains the friendship with Lance or not, he wants to make sure he doesn't make a decision that he regrets by just calling off the wedding and then that's it. Yeah. So I like that. And then of course his girlfriend Robin comes in to save the day as well by just delaying Mia from coming out and then realizing like, where's Lance? Yeah. And Robin's like probably the only unproblematic character in this whole movie. She's just like super sweet and just kind and loving. She's clearly like so in love with Harper because she still puts up with his shit even to the very end. Yeah. Like for her to go above and beyond to save a wedding, you know, these people that she's like kind of friends with them, but not really, because
not really. I think
she's not that close with
them. Isn't she meeting them for like the first time or
maybe.
Some of them?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
so
they've heard of her. Yeah, they're not her friends. They're Harper's friends, and I feel like because she cares about Harper and she's committed to the relationship and she's serious about the relationship. Yeah, like she wants to make a good impression, and she knows that he cares for these people, so she wants to do everything she can. So like she's just a good why are you
she's too good for him, damn it.
She's too good for him.
She's too good.
You know?
Yeah, I really love Robin. She's just a very sweet person who's just like in the middle of some shit that she should not be.
Mm-hmm.
But she sees that these people are going through pain and she wants to help. That's her character.
Yeah.
And I respect that and I appreciate that. I really like that about her. So the wedding is still on, but Lance is still in pain. So when they exchange their vows,
mm-hmm.
like it's really touching to see like the vows being exchanged, but at the same time it's like kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because the whole time Lance is progressively crying more and more as they continue with their vows because
mm-hmm.
as they're speaking their vows, it intercuts with random scenes of Mia just getting her back blown out.
You stupid, why you gotta say it like that?
Because it was getting blown out. It wasn't just no regular sex.
Mm-hmm.
And by Harper. And it's just like, it's not even like, it's not scenes that actually happen. These are scenes that are happening in Lance's mind based off of the truth that he knows. Yeah.
And the book.
And he's just envisioning all like the vile things
and
that Harper did to her.
He looks so pained. He's like saying his vows and they sound so sweet, and he
knows how to cry. He's a good actor when it comes to showing pain.
I know. And I was just like, oh shit. I was just like, maybe he's gonna stop reading these vows and be like, I can't do this.
I wonder if I was wondering the whole time, like, damn, is he still gonna cut this off?
Yeah, I was just like, oh my goodness, and it was funny, and I feel like it was funny for me anyway because I saw this scene on Instagram. Like I saw this clip on Instagram. I was just like, wait, what's going on? I'm like, this guy's in a tux, and this woman
comes out of nowhere nutting.
I was like, what's going on? And then you brought up like, oh, we should watch this movie, and I was just like, okay. Yes. So then when the scene happens and we're watching it, me and you, we just keep busting out laughing every time it cuts to her getting her back blown out, as you said.
Yeah.
And it was just like so funny, but it was also very like, I feel like if I didn't see this, I would be like, damn, like this is emotional. This is like, it is emotional, but it is.
I don't think it was intended to be funny.
We just joked too
but it was
much.
I just couldn't help it. It was too fucking funny.
Yeah.
Just because everyone's so fucking messy. So it's just like, yeah, I guess this is how it's going to play out. It's like you're going to have to live with this stuff if you want to continue this way with her. That scene killed me. I was like, damn, it's sad, but it's so fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because Lance did so much wrong in the past that made me laugh. But I don't know. But that was that scene was filmed really well. And then, you know, they end up, you know, getting married. So they kiss each other. They're officially husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie just caps off with a very nice little, I don't know, speech, a little toast from Harper, which actually was spoken very well, talking about how, like, he's inspired by, you know, this couple who's able to persevere through everything, even though he's the one that, they're the reason why he wrote the damn book. But you could tell that he was speaking from the heart and that he was really trying to earn his friend's forgiveness.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you see a hint that Lance kind of is starting to forgive him because he sees that he appreciates that toast.
Yeah.
And then, you know, everybody starts dancing. For some reason, Harper thinks it's okay to get on one knee and then propose to Robin. When Robin just 6 seconds ago was talking about, like, listen, like, we got a lot of stuff to talk about all the things I've just learned.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that you said and did that hurt me, and it's making me question everything about you.
Yeah.
And then the next instant, he just goes, "Will you marry me?" And
yeah,
I'm just
basically. Because at one point, she actually got up from the table and left. So I was like, okay, she left. She's like, okay.
Like, she's gone. I did my part.
Yeah, she's like, I'm glad the wedding went through, but I'm done. And
I thought she was gone.
Then she just shows up again later, and he's on his knees, and I'm just like, wait, what? I said, girl, don't do it. Say no. Say no. And I'm like, first of all, why are you proposing at somebody else's wedding? I know people do it, and I know some, like, couples, they're okay with it.
You would have to know if your friend is okay with, because otherwise it's bad etiquette.
Yeah, I'm just like, what? Like, what? Just
it's their day, bro.
You should have packed your white dress and got up here right after us. Like, don't fucking do that. Don't do that unless you discuss it with the couple. Okay.
But it would be Harper that pulls that move.
That just can't. That's why I was just like,
I really thought he was gonna get rejected. I was like, oh, you thought you were gonna get away with this, Harper?
I thought he would have got rejected, and then since I knew about the second movie, I was just like, oh, maybe in the second movie, him and Robin, Jordan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jordan would be together or something like that. But
yeah, that still makes more sense to me than what happened here.
Yes,
I was just
really
like,
does.
Robin just found out that this man basically sabotaged a relationship with his best friend.
He can't commit to her.
He can't commit to her, and he still had not shown that he could commit to her throughout this entire ordeal.
Yeah.
Basically, and he cheated on her with Jordan, with that kiss. Like, yeah, they never ended up having sex, but you kissed her and you were very interested in her. And I mean, they tried to save that by having Jordan come and dance with Harper and be like, you should really choose Robin. She's really great for you.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, but as Robin said, there was a lot to talk about. And they that's a conversation that should have been had, but Hollywood said, nah, let's just have Robin just accept the proposal because proposals are nice. They're very nice. They make you forget all the problems that you actually have in your relationship and you don't want to resolve them.
Yep.
And then you end up having a strangulated baby in the sequel.
Oh, boy. Gosh. Ay.
So I really didn't like that there was like this very bow tie ending for Harper and Robin, because I'm just like, that just didn't make sense. That just felt like the script said so. Like, yeah these two are happy because we say it is. That was not earned at all. And I was just like, really? That's just stupid.
Yeah.
That was just really stupid. But overall, the problem gets resolved. Everyone finds out about the dark truth, but they're able to come together and make amends. And there's hope for Harper with his friends and his girlfriend. So, and that's basically all of The Best Man, who is actually the worst man. Wow, that was his best man. He chose him as his best man.
Should have chose Quentin.
Quentin is something else, but he's best man material. That man comes through for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, he's got his own issues, but yeah, that was a real one. So yeah, overall, I really like this movie. It's a really fun watch. I think I'll mark it down as one of my favorite rom-coms, even though I don't have a huge catalog history of rom-coms.
Yeah.
That's like a world that I'm starting to dive into. It's got like its issues that we mentioned before, but it's a entertaining movie, and it just blows my mind that this was just like something made in the 90s. It's just like an all-black cast, something that's so difficult to have even to this day in Hollywood.
It really is.
And it was really dependent on the characters. Like, if the characters weren't interesting enough, this movie would have been a bore fest.
Yeah.
So I really had a fun time watching this, and I would definitely recommend this for, people for like a date night. Like, if you want to pop something on with like your partners or whatever, this would be a fun watch, and you could have like some fun, interesting conversations to come away with.
Hopefully it's just interesting conversations.
And not facing the truth.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so that book I read or that I wrote, honey, I don't know. I don't know. Or just watch it by yourself. If you're single, like, just watch it by yourself. This is a fun watch. So, I don't know. You want to get into ratings now? Or do you have any final thoughts before we get into ratings?
No final thoughts. I don't like Hopper. Mia's not much of a character, and yeah, that's about it.
He's the villain of the story.
Basically. Let me see. For a rating, I don't know what I would give this.
You want me to go first?
Sure, if you already know what you
I would give this a nice solid baked potato.
I was thinking that, but I was going to go a little lower. But
yeah, I wouldn't go loaded potato because I think loaded potato would have had better resolutions, more, I don't know, well-written resolutions. This is a baked potato for me. It's just nice. It's just fine. It was very entertaining, but there was like enough issues for me to be like, this isn't great, but it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I had a fun time with it. There was no parts of it where I was just like, man, this sucks. I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it a nice baked potato. It's in that nice sweet spot area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to give it like a baked potato with like
a bit of salt.
A bit of, yes, look at you reading my mind.
A little too much salt.
Yeah. Just because like I guess when we were watching there were some parts where I was just like, oh, can we get past this? Can we can pick it up? And then Harper's like lack of character development, or like either like get better or just be worse and everybody cuts
Be
you
worse.
off. I don't know. Like,
yeah, like it,
yeah.
I feel like it was heading in those two directions.
But nothing changed, and I just didn't like that. And I didn't like the can I don't know, say the character that Mia was, because she wasn't much of a character. I really didn't like that. That bothered me a lot. And also, I guess more Harper. He's the issue. So I guess I don't know if it's so much the movie as it is Harper, but it did drag out at some parts for me. And then I really just didn't like how they wrote Harper and Mia. Especially when everyone else was written to be a character. That bothered me a lot. And yeah, so I would give it like a kind of salty baked potato.
A salty baked potato.
Yeah.
In between.
I'm like close. It's a baked potato, but it could easily fall back into a salty spud. Yeah. But I think everybody should watch it. I'm glad I finally watched it, because growing up, like I said, I saw like my mom watching it, and you know, I always wondered about it, and I'm glad that, you know, Instagram dragged it back up and memed it. So definitely watch this. I think it's a good movie to watch amongst friends and discuss amongst friends.
Oh, hell yeah.
Who thinks like what's worse?
Yeah, no, because it's always interesting to see people's perspectives on an issue like this and how they would tackle it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just like movies that make you think about something, even if it's not something super complicated and philosophical, just like simple things like that. I think it's definitely a fun date night movie to have with, like, you know, your friends or your significant other or significant others.
And watch the sequel too, because like Harper
it's an
still
interesting
doesn't
follow-up.
learn. It's fun. Like I like that there was a sequel. I mean, it was years later, but I really enjoyed that as well too, because like Harper still doesn't learn. And let us know if you guys watched the limited series that they have. I believe it's on Peacock.
Yeah, it was on Peacock. Which I had no idea about.
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was like something like completely different, just kind of like named the same, but with the same
spin-off.
But it has the same characters in it as well too. So I was just like, I don't know, maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. Has anybody else watched it? Let us know. I'm really curious to see like, where do these characters go? Like
What now?
What
more could there be?
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So overall, we definitely recommend a watch for this movie. So with that, thank you guys for listening to another episode of The Most Potato. We appreciate you guys. We love you, love you, love you. And if you love us, make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening from. Make sure to hit that notification bell so that you know when new episodes come out. Like, comment, share with your friends, your boss, your the Pope, you know,
best friend.
your best friend, your best friend's wife that you slept with. Just don't sleep with them again. And yeah, thanks so much for listening. We're excited to delve into more romantic movies this month, and we can't wait to share with you guys what the next one will be. So with that, thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys on the next one. Ta-ta. Peace.